Hello, everybody. My name is Mylira Green, and I am here before you guys to speak about speaking out. Listen, there is so much healing in using your voice, and I'm not just coming to you guys as a licensed professional, but as someone as well that story replicates some of you all too. I have two angel babies that are in heaven that watch over me and my family, and I want to be able to show you guys how I have grown so much in my life by just sharing my story and building a community around me to help me get there as well. So, today, what I want you guys to walk away from this is understanding how a lack of homeostasis or balance impacts one ability to start her healing journey. I want you to gain an understanding that losing a child does not make you a woman that is effective and you deserve to walk in your healing. I want you to understand that once a child is connected and conceived, that woman becomes a mother until her death. And that sharing your pain assists with healing self and brings comfort to others. So let me literally come here and tell you a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Mylira Green. I am from the Hampton Roads area of Virginia. I've been here all my life. But the one thing that I want you to know is that I have not always been this person that everyone knows today. But what I was able to do was turn all of my pain into purpose and be able to show up for those who may have experienced the same things that I have. Now, let me tell you about my family, okay? I am definitely a family person, and the reason why I wanted to bring up my family is because they were my first community. When I think of community, I think of people who are around me that makes me better, okay? So I'm gonna get a little spiritual on you guys, so just bear with me just a little bit. Go on this journey with me. When I think of community, I think of me being a cell phone. All right, everybody shot their cell phone. Mine is right here. But if anyone knows anything about a cell phone, when it gets to 20%, 9 times out of 10, it start acting a little funky. Your notifications don't want to work no more. It goes blank in the middle of your important Zoom calls to say you're 20% there. And then what ends up happening is we can't go through life the same way we would if we was at 100%. So then we say, hey, there's a plug that's in the wall, and you guys see a couple of my plugs that's in my background. And there's always a current that is going through that plug. And that current is generally your creator or whatever you believe in, whatever you think is that guiding force, that guiding light. But you can't just set your phone up to the actual port itself. You always need a cord. That cord for me is family and community. When I get to 20%, God is always there. My connector thing is always there, but I need an actual cord and a plug to plug me into my source. And for me, that was my family. That still is my family. So I wanted to kind of bring up that sometimes when we feel like we are depleted, especially when you lose a child. I remember losing my first child and I just wanted to isolate. I remember what that felt like, but it was a something about being able to plug into the source through the love of those who are around me. Again, I did not go through this journey by myself. I am married to my best friend. We'll be married for 8 years in May. And for me and him, this journey, we didn't know who to go talk to, what to do, because it wasn't something that was talked about in our area. We just thought you get married, you get pregnant, you have a healthy baby, and the rest of your life go on. We didn't know that there was a possibility or probability of loss. So as we are going through this journey and this process, we had no idea what this will in case of, because nobody talks about it. So here we are, a young couple experiencing this, not knowing where to go. It didn't take away my charger cords because I still have my family. I still had people that were around me. But in that moment, we did not know where to go. But we didn't give up. We began to share our story, which I will share a little bit in a few. We began to share our story, which then allowed for us to not give up. And now I have my rainbow, beautiful daughter, Adonaiah, who's 5. And I have my miracle son, who's Aswan, who is 2. And I've been able to take all of my pain and literally turn it into my purpose and create my brand of M Green Enterprises LLC. Now, let's talk a little bit today. What actually happens when we experience loss? When people lose something, let's just talk about something simple. When you lose your car keys, right? And you know you got to go to work, you're already 5 minutes behind. You go into the spiral of freaking out. You're like, oh my God, where's my keys? Then you're trying to walk through what did everything else happen? Where was the last time I saw it? You're trying to go and redo your steps. This happens when you lose your child as well. Because again, nobody typically talks about what it looks like once you conceive a child. And one of the presenters before me talked a lot about forgiveness. We've even heard about grief. And what people don't realize is that grief, again, is that continuous process. We go through the denial process of, man, did this really happen? Then we go through anger. This is where we realize, man, this did happen, but why did it happen to me? And we ask all the questions that the wonderful speakers before me have brought up already. What could I have done differently? What did I do wrong? Did I dot all my I's and cross all my T's? Did I eat the right thing? Did I move the right way? What did I do to bring this on? And as a result of all of these questions, we find ourselves bargaining. God, I'll do it differently next time. For me, I lost 2 children back to back. So once I lost my first child, I'm like, okay, I know what I did wrong this time. At least I thought I did. So now I'm going to try this again. And it's going to be perfect this time. Then I lost my other child. So now I'm bargaining. Like, hey, if I just did something different, if I just moved differently, but I didn't have control of the outcome. And it led to depression. Because now I'm like, what did I do that calls for this thing to happen? Till eventually, once I realized that I had no control over the outcome of this, then I began to accept and forgive myself for the role I felt I played. Forgive the world for not having conversations that pregnancy is just not you get pregnant, have a healthy pregnancy, and you have a healthy baby. That is not everyone's story. I had to forgive that there was not really much conversation until recently that these are people experiences. So when you experience loss, you go through a period of grieving because you don't know, why did this happen to me? And we find ourselves constantly asking that question. So how about this? How do we actually create balance in moments when we feel like we are drowning? I don't know about you, but I do know as I was going through my experiences, I just felt as though, why me? I felt like, how in the world am I supposed to get over this? And I didn't really know how to get over it. So I had to create some balance. So I'm going to do this thing with you guys here. And this is going to be a little strange because it's virtual. But what I want you guys to do is back up. I'm actually going to, I want you guys to kind of back up. If you put your hands in front of you, they should be the same length. Okay. If they're not, I got some questions for you, but I'm not going to ask because I can't see you. So you're a little safe. Okay. But there's some balance. But what tends to happen is when there is some loss, we find ourselves focusing on one area. So I want you to walk with me through this brief exercise, okay? You're going to put your right hand up in the air with me, and you're going to push it forward 10 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, when you put that arm that you just worked on out, it's going to be longer than the other. Why is that? Because when you experience loss, you go through all of the questions of the why, the when, the how, the what. What could I have done differently? How could this have been eliminated? What is going on? What is happening? We find ourselves in this spiral of what in the world do I do next? So then we focus. Sometimes you have that one that's like, well, I'm gonna keep trying, I'm gonna keep trying, I'm gonna keep trying. Or you have the mindset of, I'm too afraid to try again, so I'm not gonna try again. I'm gonna stop my life. I'm not gonna do anything anymore. I'm gonna go and isolate. I'm not gonna deal with this. I can't talk to my spouse because he doesn't really understand that this happened to my body. We go through a plethora. Or I can't talk to my wife because it didn't really happen to me, but I am hurting right now because I saw the pain of her not being able to fully go through with the birth of a healthy baby. That is what we end up focusing on. Then we leave ourselves unbalanced and we wonder why at work things are struggling. We wonder why at home things are struggling. We're wondering why we can't spiritually reconnect. We're wondering why emotionally we feel damaged. And it's because we are focusing on the what I wish I could change, but it already kind of passed already. So how do we create balance? It goes back to connecting to that community. Having platforms like this to say, hi, that was my story too. Let us get through this together. So because I don't have insurance on you guys at all, and I don't want anybody suing M Green Enterprises if you get up and fall, I got to balance out the other side. So we're going to do the same activity to the left hand, okay? So put your hand up, push it forward 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You should be back completely balanced, guys. And why do I do that activity? It's because I really want you to understand that you are not in this thing by yourself. You are not in this thing by yourself. So as we sit here and we think about, okay, well, how can we find balance, Mylira? I hear what you're saying, but I am hurting. I am grieving. I don't even feel like going forward anymore. It's so hard for me to get out of bed. I'm going to go over 3 ways that we can find balance. Number 1 will be, every woman deserves to experience the beauty of healing, for she is not defective. 2, we're going to talk about motherhood does not end at the death of a child. And then 3, true healing occurs when one grows comfortable with utilizing her story to not just heal herself, but others. So go on this journey with me right now. So, how do I know these 3 acknowledgments may assist with your healing? And it's because I have a story. This picture was taken back in 2015, the morning of my D&C of my first baby, Mishael. When I found out my husband and I was pregnant, I was so excited. I remember creating a post on Facebook and it put baby green bean is coming in October of 2015, and everybody celebrated besides one person. I had a family member basically pull me to the side and say, hey, I am excited about this, but did you know that miscarriages can happen? And in this time, I'm like, excuse me, I don't know what you're talking about, because nobody ever talked to me about a miscarriage. I just know you get pregnant, you have a baby. There was no in between conversations whatsoever. So as this person is like, you may have wanted to wait until you made this announcement, I'm like, but I just peed on this stick and celebrated with my husband. I'm going to announce if I want to. That was my attitude. So we go to the first appointment. The baby is fine. We are excited. And we're like, oh my gosh, yes, I am 6 weeks pregnant. And we're going to come back and we're going to be able to see if the baby has a heartbeat at week 12, I believe is when we went back next. So I'm living my life. I'm pregnant. I'm excited. My husband is rubbing my stomach, and I am literally sitting here, and I am just like so excited because, mind you, I was a girl that thought that at 17 I was gonna be dead. I was diagnosed with major depression when I was 16 years old after being sexually assaulted, and I just knew at that moment at 17 death was gonna be my life. So to not even just be married but also be about to have a baby, I was excited. So now we go back week 12 and we are pumped up. I got a nice little outfit on. My husband got off early from work and they go in and we get the little ultrasound and you can tell the tech was getting frustrated. And I'm like, what's going on? And she just kept saying, just let me check somewhere. Just let me check somewhere. And as we go through this little plethora of what felt like a million years, she finally said, we don't see a baby and we don't hear a heartbeat. And I said, well, that's impossible because weeks ago, I was in the same exact room and y'all saw the baby. We have ultrasound pictures to prove it. What do you mean there's no baby? She says, well, I apologize, but you have experienced what we call a missed miscarriage. And the way she explained it to me was that means the baby started to develop and something happened in development that made it go and disappear. So essentially, my own womb attacked my child. And then she's like, well, I'm going to walk you across the way and we're going to talk to a consultant. And I'm like, okay, why do we need to do that? Like, I'm still in my mind thinking my baby's here. She just don't know what she's doing. So they gave me 3 options. They said, well, you can take the abortion pill, you can have a D&C, or you could just let it happen by itself. And if you do that, you run a risk of actually getting infections and all this other stuff. So for me, I'm like, I don't want to take an abortion pill because to me, abortion just sounds bad. So not only are you saying that my child is dead, you want me to murder my child too. I just couldn't conceptualize that. Then I couldn't conceptualize the only other option is to wait and then maybe die myself. And that's how they made it seem because of an infection. So now I'm like, okay, I'm going to do the D&C. So on this morning, as you see, I am still in good spirits. I say, you know what? At the end of the day, I've had so much pain in my life. I've shared my life story with so many others. This is no different. So weeks go by and I am still clotting. April is my birthday. This happened back in March. And I'm like, oh, okay, so we're out for a retreat resort. My husband and I celebrating our birthdays. And it was just clots, just coming out, coming out. So the baby that should have been out on this day you see was not out. And I am now forced to relive a trauma that, one, I didn't even know was a possibility. 2, somebody spoke it over my life. At least is what I felt in that moment. And 3, I got to be reminded again months later of this loss. So now I'm re-traumatized that now Mishael is still having to come out of my body. Why do I share my story in details? Because I want for you guys to know that you are not by yourself. It is so much that we do not know as women when we conceive and we get ready for motherhood. The only thing people talk about is you get pregnant, have a baby, or you get pregnant, have an abortion. Nobody until recently, which I am so thankful for platforms like this and Sales and Sadija, is because before nobody was talking about the in-between. So today I stand before you to let you know that every woman deserves to experience the beauty of healing, for she is not defective. Just because you have lost your child does not mean that you are defective. And as I continue to tell my story, a piece of what was really burdening me was not just the loss that I had, but all the reasons why I thought I lost my baby. So for me, I have always been the plus size girl, y'all. Walk with me. This is storytelling time. So if you know anything about Mylira, I tell a lot of stories. But when I was 13, I was basically obese. I was 215 pounds, and I went on this journey for a very, very long time to lose weight. And right before I conceived Mishael, I had won the opportunity of a lifetime. Liquid lipo. I was excited. It was time for me to lose this weight. I have finally got 60 pounds off. I was feeling myself. I knew that it was time for me to live my best life. And now I'm pregnant. However, in my mind, now as my child is gone, I'm thinking I'm defective. I'm thinking, well, maybe it was the medicine that I was taking to lose the weight. So although I lost weight, got healthy, that is what caused my child to be let go. So now there's something in my body that's defective. And then not only that, I got pregnant again right after, and I lost that child too. So now I'm really in my mind saying like, oh my gosh, there is something defective about me. But what I want for each of you to know is that you are enough just the way you are. That your story, no matter how painful it was, no matter how many tears you have shed, you are not defective. It was a part of your journey. And I can't tell you why. I wish I can. Sometimes I still ask God, why was that a part of my story? I understand that my pain is my purpose so that I can help other people, but why me? Why did you choose me? But it doesn't mean I'm defective. It doesn't mean that I am not worthy of being loved. I'm not worthy of being seen. And I am not least then just because my story didn't go from conception to 9 months later delivering a healthy baby. So I want you guys to walk away knowing that you are not defective just because this is a part of your story. The next piece of this is motherhood never ends. We call them our angel babies because their soul still lives on. I used to give this visualization. I said, imagine the moment where the baby comes out and they cry. It's because they see the light. They're finally here at light. But right before that moment, God says, I got one more task for you. Pick your children. You picked those souls even before they picked you. You will forever be that soul's mother. So every Mother's Day that has passed, I celebrate you. You might not be able to physically show that child, but their soul has physically chose you. And just because they didn't come on this side of life does not mean that their assignment or your assignment ended. It just means that they needed to guide you on the soul level and not you being needed to guide them on the flesh level. So there is many of us right now that those angel babies are guiding our souls along the way. And they were more needed for our soul than we needed their flesh. And when I talk to people about that, sometimes they disagree, which I understand. But at the same time, it's one of those things where I want to reassure you that the task of being that child's mother did not end at the time of their flesh no longer being a thing. Whether through miscarriage, whether it's through stillborn, or whether the child was born and they left early in life due to complications. Their soul still lives on. It's the same way. For example, many of the speakers have had loss. I myself have experienced 3 losses at the beginning of this year. An aunt, an uncle, and 3 weeks ago, I lost my great-grandmother. And when I lost my great-grandmother, my 5-year-old is a little feisty, okay? And we were telling her, hey, sweetheart, you gained another ancestor. And she was adamant. I want to see her. I want to see her. We cannot tell her you cannot see her body. None of that. So my dad is trying to get himself together because he knew I was going to take heart seeing my grandmother, but my daughter wanted to see her. So I see my grandmother, and literally her mouth was wide open as if she was like, her soul was running to the Lord. That's what it looked like. And at first I didn't understand it. And I realized that at that moment, any loss that we have, the soul of that baby is running to be on your team. It's running to protect you and everything that you experience. It's running to help the other souls that are coming through you to go through. It's running to prepare you for when you adopt or do foster care or just be a mentor because you can't go through the pain of not having children. That soul is what is anchoring you. And as much as it hurts, because I wish I could see what Mishael would have looked like, or baby number 2 that we never actually named. I wish I had that, but my role as their mother still remains for the rest of my life. Because I chose them before I was even flesh, and they answered yes, even though they never became flesh. And now it's our turn to live out their legacy, which is why SALES is such an amazing organization, because Khadijah makes sure that these mothers, these fathers, these medical people that work with women who have lost understands that your motherhood, your parenthood did not stop the moment that that flesh was not able to come to this life. Then the last takeaway I want you to take with you today is true healing occurs when one grows comfortable with utilizing her story to not just heal herself, but others. As I was going through my experience, I'm always a vocal girl. But I remember finally just gaining the confidence to share. Hey guys, I know that everybody was excited for October for baby green bean to get here. Mishael, y'all was so excited and ecstatic. But I'm sorry to share with you, we just had to basically rid my womb of that flesh. And as I'm sharing, and then I lost baby number 2, I had countless women inboxing me saying, oh my God, nobody else understands me. Nobody else knows that this is what I'm going through. I have children now, but I never told anybody that 20 years ago, I lost my child, and I think about them every day. It wasn't until I was able to say, you know what, God, this pain is more of a purpose and I need to share what happened, was when other people began to become liberated. So you sharing your story allows for other women to do what our other speaker talked about and forgive themselves for the role that they feel like they played. Because many of us walk around for years wondering why. Why me? What could I have done differently? Many women stop being intimate with their spouses because their fear is, I'm going to conceive and the same thing is going to happen to me. Many males stop talking to their wives because they're asking, well, where is my pain? I can't be crying. I'm not the one that lost the child. So now he's trying to figure out where to go. But when we begin to share our stories, it allows for other people around us to begin to heal as well. And it goes back to that connector piece. When you lose a child, you're not just at 20%, you're at 1%. And at any time now, your phone is about to die. And most of us have been there. In that moment, you feel numb. In that moment, you feel like, what in the world am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to tell everybody who was celebrating with me there's no more life to celebrate? How do I talk to them? How do I go back to that family member that said I was going to have a miscarriage and let them know, like, hey, well, you said it, it happened. Like, how do I have this conversation? We go through all of these things. But when you have a community of people, like the men and women that is a part of this platform right here, then you have your connector piece to connect you back to source, to remind you it ain't over yet, my love. It's not over yet, my friend. So we build resiliency by having communities like this to remind us that we are not alone, to remind us that we are enough, to remind us that what we feel is not to be denied. We talked a lot about forgiveness, but one thing I tell people is that our reality doesn't start with what we see, it starts with our thoughts. And then the experience of life that we have is our emotions, our feelings. So in those moments, we are now experiencing the feelings related to the thoughts that we're having about our situation. And many of us begin to try to push aside the thoughts and say, no, I shouldn't think that way. No, I shouldn't feel that way. No, give yourself permission to feel what you feel so that the community around you can wrap themselves around you to pour in more positive thoughts to shift the feeling and make this process a little easier. Because sometimes it takes an external voice to speak into you to shift your experience. And that is how we build resiliency as a community. So healing is an attainable goal. It all starts with setting the intention, sharing your story, and living in your healing. Today, many of you have set the intention to be able to walk forward. There are some of you who have literally come on this platform just looking for that thing that's going to keep them to keep pressing on and keep going. Because right now, death may seem better than life because you just cannot understand why your child is not with you. And I am here to tell you, as someone, my friend, that also almost chose death, that life that's in your body is for a reason. So I'm going to do one more exercise with you guys. I want you to take a deep breath in and let it out. That breath that you just took was literally someone else's last breath. And now you have me a part of your community to push you forward and tell you, my friend, you bet not give up. You still got a purpose. You still have a life in your body. And that angel that is sitting here as your biggest cheerleader saying, Mommy, Daddy, you can do this. Keep going. They are up there smiling because you came here today with the intention to keep on living. So now it's time to share your story and give yourself permission to live like you've never lived before. So I want to be able to do something special with you guys. I created the Metamorphosis experience, and I want you guys, if you can, to put down a number between 1 and 100. And I'm actually going to see if I can send a message to one. I'm going to send a message to you, Leela, with the number that I'm choosing so it can be fair. So whoever chooses closest to that number will be gifted a 6-week program to really find the confidence to become unstuck and motivated to keep going despite your loss, despite where you are. So I'm going to give you guys some time to get this number in. I did send the number to Leela. So Leela, go ahead. I'm going to give people about 3 seconds, to go in, make sure everybody did something. And I want to make sure that it is fair across the board. Got a couple more coming in. Okay. Got it. All right. So Leela's going to put down who actually won. And then I want you guys to make sure the winner, once she puts it in the chat, sends me an email so we can make sure that you get that with me. Please make sure you guys reach out to me. Again, my name is Mylira Green, and I literally am here to transform people's lives because I realized that my pain wasn't for me. My pain was for the person who don't know how to get out. My pain is for the person who is just trying to go one more step further in life. And I want to be the one to walk you through it. So congratulations to the winner. I'm waiting for Leela to put down who that person is. And then make sure once I announce who you are, you send me an email to info@myliratransforms.com so I can get you connected with my coaching program. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to connect with me. I am very touchable. If you friend me on Facebook, it's not a bot. I promise it's me talking to you all day. So please send a friend request. But if you don't remember anything that I have said right now, I want you to understand that you are enough. You are simply enough. Yes, please. And because you are enough, there is nothing else that you need to do. There is no more I's you need to dot. There is no more T's that you need to cross, because you are the best you there is. And in this moment, I celebrate you. Thank you again for your time. I really hope you guys walk away with something and know that you now have a community. Do not walk away from this not being connected with someone, because you deserve to walk forward and it's your time to shine.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mylira. That was so powerful. I know I said that to everybody finished, but I'm meaning it. It's, each story and each presentation is powerful in its own way. And I'm seeing again in the chat that people are picking up different nuggets from different presentations, but everybody is grabbing onto something and everybody is inspired and empowered. And so thank you again. I can't wait to see you in person, girl. We get all this energy over the internet and everything. I can't wait to see you in person. I'm coming down here in October, so I'm definitely going to connect with you when I come down for an event down there. Thank you guys. Mylira also has a poll. Sorry. So check your comments there for the polls in that section. And please go ahead and chime in to the poll. Thank you for your giveaway alert. So hopefully we got the person that's closest. Make sure you email her. If for some reason you don't have the email, reach out to us. It'll be in your virtual swag bag as well. So when you receive that, you'll have all of the speakers' contact information and giveaways and things like that. We are rolling right along. Thank you guys for hanging in there with us. We are right at 2:22. And so we want to save some time. The end of the second half, rather. I'm going real fast, y'all. I keep looking at the clock. I'm like, this is why I like to be in person, because it's so much, but we're going to make it through. So let me slow down. The second half of the event is the panel discussion. So you'll really get to hear from parents. You'll hear from dads. I'm super excited about that. Dads and moms, you'll be able to ask questions. We have some pre-submitted questions already. If you have questions, please start putting them in there, because we want to answer your questions if you have some while you're here versus the questions that we already have planned. We're going to move into a raffle really quickly before we break. I want to still have time for you guys to shop the vendors and meet and greet and finally get some people sitting at your table so you can talk to people. A lot of our speakers have hung around, so they'll be in the social lounge as well. Find one of them at a table. Let me share my screen for this raffle, and let's do that real quick, and then we're going to break. All right. Perfect. So raffle time. So one of our community partners and vendors, Tiny Hearts Remembered, has donated a t-shirt. You'll see it there, Mommy of an Angel, and a pop socket, a matching pop socket. So the first raffle is going to be for those two items. If you win it and it doesn't apply, you can always gift it or give it to someone else. So let me go to my screen here and pull up. Let's do the wheel of names. Hopefully everyone that has registered is included on the raffle. That includes the speakers as well. So I believe I have all of the names. There we go. Perfect. I have all of the names except for myself. I didn't put myself on the raffle, but everybody else is there. All right. So let's see. Michelle, congratulations to you, Michelle. I know you're here because we've been talking in the chat. So congratulations, you've won the Angel Mom t-shirt along with the pop socket. And Danielle, who is the CEO and founder of Tiny Hearts Remembered, also has a table. So Michelle, make sure you stop by and chat with her at her table and get her information. But I'll also send an email to connect you to make sure that your prize is delivered to you. It is 2:24. I want to make sure that we have at least an hour for our second half for the panel discussion. So we're going to go ahead and take a break, push you out to the social lounge, meet up, meet and greet, speak, shop, do all that good stuff. We're going to come back at 2:45. And that will give us exactly an hour for the second half and the final portion of our event today. Hope you all have enjoyed yourselves. I'm going to go out to the social lounge and I will see you guys back there.